Hey, fellow problem solvers, Colfax Math here. Today I'm going to go over some of the hardest math problems on the ASVAB, the military placement exam. A lot of algebra, a lot of high school math. What you want to do here is you want to have a notebook out in front of you. You want to pause the videos, try and figure out the problem the best you can. Unpause the video and watch how I solve it. The way you get good at math is by practice. So the more problems you do, the better you do on any standardized math exam. You get more help with this app right here. There's a ton of resources here, including additional tests you could take, placement exams, trial tests. You could get it at the App Store on Google or on the Apple App Store. Let's go ahead and get started with problem number 1. I'm going to give you a lot of tips and tricks in here. One of those is, if it is a multiple choice problem, see if those answers are going to give away any part of the problem. Another is you want to mark up the problem as much as you can and turn that paragraph just into a couple of numbers with directions or slight pictures. So let's go ahead and break this problem down that way. The price of salmon at a fish market is $5.40 per pound. This is 150% of the cost at a supermarket. So that means this is more than a supermarket. How much would it cost at the supermarket? Well, it's got to be less than that. I look over at my answers. It can't be either one of those two, because what it's saying at the fish market is 150% of the price at the supermarket. So 1.5 times the price at the supermarket. So I know it's got to be less than that. 150%, the way I convert this percent to a decimal, I think of this thing as like a little arrow, shooting it over two places, 1, 2. So that's the equivalent of 1.5. So what I'm saying is, the price at the supermarket is this price divided by 1.5. So I'm going to say, I don't know what the price is. Since I don't know what it is, I'm going to call it X. I know that multiplying it by 1.5 is going to equal the price at the fish market of $5.40. I want to get X by itself. I'm going to divide both sides by 1.5. I can do whatever I want in an equation, as long as I do it to both sides and keep it balanced. This and this will cancel, giving me X by itself. And then the price is going to be this number divided by this number. So I have 540 divided by 150. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to move this decimal place over once and move this one over once and then move it up. So 15 goes into 54. 3 times is 45. 4 times is 60. So it has to be 3 times, giving me 45. 54 minus 45 is 9. Bring down the 0. 15 into 90. 15 times 2, 30. 60, 90 would be 6. 3.6 or $3.60. Correct answer, answer B. Let's go back through this one more time and see if that makes sense. The price of salmon at the fish market is $5.40 per pound. This is 1.5 the cost at the supermarket. How much is it at the supermarket? So at the supermarket is $3.60. 360 times 1.5 gives me $5.40, the price at the fish market. Again, these aren't the easiest of problems. The key is kind of break them down into little pieces and see what you're doing. Okay, problem number 2. A train goes twice as fast downhill. So this, we're going to have down, and this is 2x. A train goes twice as fast downhill as it goes uphill, and 2/3 as fast uphill as it can go on level ground. So we got 3 variables now. We got uphill, downhill, and level. If it goes 120 downhill, how long will it take to travel 45 miles? So there's a ton of information in a couple of sentences. I'm going to just convert all of that into a picture. So I have downhill, I have uphill, train goes downhill. If it goes 120 downhill, so I know it's going to go 120 miles per hour downhill. It goes twice as fast downhill as it goes uphill. So if it's going 120 miles per hour downhill, it goes 60 miles per hour uphill. right? Because that has to be twice what that is. Then I have that third variable of level ground. It goes 120 downhill. How long? 2/3 as fast uphill as it goes on level ground. So this 2/3 right here is going to give us this. Well, it's obviously going to go faster on level ground than uphill. It is going 2/3 faster here than here. So whatever this is going to be x times 2/3 equals 60. Or I could just do 60 times the reciprocal of 2/3. So I flip that over. 2 goes into 60 30 times. 30 times 3 is 90. So the way I did that is I said it goes, let's read this again here. It goes 2/3 as fast uphill as it goes on level ground. So 2/3 times 90 gives me the uphill speed. So now I have all three speeds, and I have it in a pretty straightforward picture. Now I got to go back and figure out how long it takes to go 45 miles on flat ground. If it is going 90 miles per hour, how long does it take it to go 45 miles? Well, 90 miles in an hour, 45 miles would be half of that. So I'd have to half the time too. So half of 90 is 45 miles. Half of an hour is 30 minutes or a half hour. Correct answer, answer B right there. It is a hard problem. There's a million little pieces. First thing you really want to do is break down all of the pieces that you have. Look at what you're looking for. Look at your solutions. And then little bites at a time, and it'll start to come together. Okay, problem number 3. A pet store owner set the price of a bag 50% above the cost. So I got a cost of food, and then it's set 50% above that cost. When it did not sell, a price was reduced by 20% to $12. What was the cost the store owner had on a bag of cat food? Again, this is a hard one. So I'm starting with cost. And then I know that 1.5 times the cost is what he's going to sell it for, right? So when it did not sell, then this was reduced by 20%. So 20% of this reduced equals $12. So I'm going to go 0.8 times when he sold it for equals that $12, right? 1 minus the 20% gives me 80%. Then now I got to get this by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 0.8. And then I'm going to do 12 divided by 0.8. So 0.8 goes into 12. I'm going to move this over 1. So I'm going to move that over 1. 8 goes into 12 one time. 40 goes in here 5 times. So this sale price right here is 15. Whoops, 15. 20% off is the 12, right? I'm still not done with that 15. I got to go back here and figure out 1.5 times this equals 15. So I got to divide this by 1.5 to get, what is that, 10. So 10 is the original cost times 1.5 for a 50% increase, selling it for 15. It doesn't sell, so he reduces that 15 by 20% to 12. So correct answer, answer A, $10 right there. Okay, problem number 4. Aviation gasoline weighs 45 pounds per cubic foot or 6 pounds per gallon. How many gallons are there in 10 cubic feet? So I have 45 pounds. These are fractions, right? It's pounds per cubic foot. If I work with my units here, it'll help. So I have 45 pounds per cubic foot, and I want to know about 10 cubic feet. So I can multiply this by 10 cubic feet. My cubic feet will cancel, giving me only pounds. So I have 45 pounds per cubic foot, 10 cubic feet, giving me a total of 450 pounds of fuel. Well, then it's 6 pounds per gallon, and I want to know how many gallons, right? So it's 6 pounds per gallon, so I'm going to actually multiply that. That 1 gallon is equal to 6 pounds. And I do it that way so that my pounds will cancel. The only units I have left are gallons. And then I do 450 divided by 6, and that's going to give me gallons. I'm going to look over at my answers. It's going to be a pretty big answer. Just looking at that, I could tell it's going to be the largest answer, 75. But let's try this out. 450 divided by 6. 6 doesn't go in a 4 and a 45. It goes 7 times, giving me 42. 5 minus 2 is 3. Bring down the 0. 6 and a 35. So it's going to work out to be 75 gallons. Problem number 5, an average bathtub has 8 gallons of water. Average shower has 6 gallons of water. So we have a bath with 8, shower with 6. In order to provide a bath or shower for 60 people, how many more gallons would be used for the bathtub instead of the shower? Well, I just do 8 minus 6 to give me a 2 gallon difference over 60 people. 2 gallons times 60 is going to give me 120. And there's my correct answer, answer B right there. Problem number 6, a road paving crew needs 8 barrels of water to spray every half mile. So I have 8 barrels is equal to a half mile. How many barrels are needed to pave 3.5 miles? Well, 8 barrels for a half mile. So I'm going to just double both numbers. 1 half doubled is 1. 8 doubled is 16. So 16 barrels per mile. I'm just going to look at the integer first, just the 3. 1 mile is 16. So 3 miles, multiply that by 3, multiply that by 3, gives me 48 barrels. And then I have the half, the fractional component, the half mile. Half mile is 8 barrels. So take that 48, add the half mile of 8 barrels to it. That's going to give me 56 total barrels. Correct answer, answer B right there. Problem 7, when the temperature is 20 degrees Celsius, what is it in Fahrenheit? And then they give you the equation here. These are really common problems, unit conversions with algebraic expression. So first thing I do is I look at my answers. 93 is kind of out of the ballpark, so I could probably discard that one. And I can see that we're talking Fahrenheit. I have 20 degrees Celsius, and then there's Celsius right there. That C is the same as Celsius. So I just take the 20 and I plug it in for C. So my Fahrenheit is equal to 9 over 5 times the temperature in Celsius, 20, plus 32. Order of operations is multiplication before addition. So I have to multiply first. This is really just a fraction. 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 20 4 times. 9 times 4, 36. 36 plus 32 gives me 68 degrees. That even sounds about right if you're used to working with the 2 different units. Correct answer, answer C right there. Problem number 8, a carpenter cut 3 4-foot 6-inch boards, 1, 2, 3, from a 14-foot board. So I have a 14-foot board here. Each board I'm cutting is 4 feet 6 inches. A couple things to note, 12 inches equal a foot, and double tick marks are inches, single tick mark are feet. So I have 4 foot 6 inches, 4 foot 6 inches, 4 foot 6 inches. How long is a piece left over? So how long is that left over? So with that picture, it's easy to see. I add those 3 up, subtract it from 14. So I have 4 foot 6 inches plus 4 foot 6 inches plus 4 foot 6 inches. 6 and 6 is 12, 12 inches. I'm going to take that 12 inches and just make it 1 foot right there. Then I have that additional 6 inches. I have 4, 8, 12, 13, 13 feet, 6 inches, assuming that there's no kerf or sawdust created and I don't lose any wood to the cuts. 14 feet minus 13 feet, 6 inches is going to give me 6 inches left over. So I need 6 inches more to get to that 14 feet. Correct answer, answer D right there. Problem number 9, I have 3x equals 81. So x, my unknown, that's what I'm looking for, is an exponent. I want to know how many times I have to multiply 3 together to get 81. So 3 times 3 is 9. So 3 squared is 9. 3 times 3, 9. Times 3, 27. Right? So 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3, 27. 27 times 3 is 81. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 threes. So 3 to the 4th is equal to 81. So what is my exponent? X. Correct answer, answer B right there. Problem number 10. If you're new to the channel, think about subscribing. Also share this with anybody else who might be taking a standardized math exam. The more practice exams you do, the better you're going to do on it. So you just got to do a lot of practice and just keep doing the math problems and they'll start to come together. Again, these are some of the hardest math problems on the ASVAB. So don't be intimidated by this. I have a lot of other videos of a lot of other math problems that aren't quite so hard. So number 10, what is this whole thing subtracted from this whole thing? So this is an algebra question. I got to combine similar terms. I have 3a minus 8ab plus b. So all I've done is I wrote that down. What is this subtract from this? So that means I got to subtract this. So I got to put a negative out in the front and make sure I subtract every one of these. So I'm going to go subtract 10b. So I'm going to put that right here, minus 10b from that b. Subtract negative ab. So subtract a negative is like adding. And there's only one of them, so I got to add that one. Minus or subtract a negative 7a, which is like adding a 7a to it. I have them all lined up, so they're similar terms lined up. I am subtracting that quantity from that quantity. And I did that by distributing that negative through the whole thing. 3a plus that 7a is 10a. I could discard that answer right now. Negative 8b plus 1/8b is negative 7ab. Positive b minus 10b is minus 9b. So over here I need a positive 10a. It's going to be that one or that one. A negative 7ab, that one or that one. A negative 9b, that one. So correct answer, answer B right there. Problem 11 right here, the coordinates of point A and B are this and this. What is the slope? So I got to find the slope between these lines. So first thing I need to know that this is a coordinate xy, and this is also another coordinate xy, but I want to say it's a different one, so I'll call it x2, y2, my second coordinate. This respectively means A comes first, so this is A, and then B, so this is B. This is on the Cartesian coordinate system, where horizontal axis is x, vertical axis is y. You go over before you go up. It's always x before y. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3 in x, and then I go up 4, 5 in y. So there's my coordinate. That coordinate's 3, 5. This coordinate right here is I go over negative, so negative 1, 2, 3. Then I go up a negative, which means down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's my second coordinate. So really step one is just understanding those are coordinates on the Cartesian plane. Then I'm going to connect those dots. It's going to give me a line segment, and there's going to be a slope to that segment. Slope, sometimes represented with M, is always going to be rise over the run. So it's going to be rise over the run. So I got to figure out how much it goes up. Well, it goes from -5 to +5, so it rises 10. Over the run from left to right, -3 to 3 is 6. So the slope is rise over run. That's just a fraction, so it could be reduced to 5/3 or a mixed number 1 and 2/3. I look over there, 5/3 is answer C. Correct answer, answer C. There is an equation for this that I find harder to remember than just drawing it out. The equation for slope is the difference in the y values, which is going to be changed in rise, over the difference in the x values, which is the change in run. We call this our first point, this our second point. So using that equation, I would have -5 minus 5, -10, over -3 minus 3, -6. Negative divided by a negative cancels, reduce that fraction to 5/3. If you can't remember the equation, just draw it out that way right there. Okay, last problem right here. It's a pretty hard one. Factor this thing right here. Factoring is kind of hard. You got to take that binomial and split it into two quantities multiplied together. The way you reverse factoring is, I remember it is FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. So I take the first terms and multiply them together to get 2x squared. The outer terms, 2x times 3y, is 6xy. The inner terms, x times -y, negative xy. And then finally the last terms, negative 3y squared. So that's how you distribute a quantity times a quantity. I point that out right now because we need to do the reverse of that. So I could combine these terms right here, and I could see it's not this one. I could do that for all of them. And actually, I think there's a typo here. I don't think there's a correct answer here. Mistake in making this. But let me show you how you factor that. So the first thing I'm going to factor is this 2x squared. I'm going to create one quantity and another quantity. The only factors of 2 are a 2 and a 1. The only factors x squared are an x and an x. So my first term now is 2x times x, 2x squared. Now the factors of y squared are y and a y. One of these has to be negative, one positive to give me a negative. And it's going to be a 3 and a 1. I could try it here, or I could put the 3 here. You can see how it is. And then now I'm kind of playing with this in my head a little bit. I'm foiling it out. I have 2x squared, 3xy, 2xy, and a 3y squared. One has to be positive, one has to be negative, give me that. But the xy is positive. So for that xy to be positive, this would have to be positive. This would have to be negative. And that would give me 3xy minus 2xy, which is positive 1xy. So there's the correct answer right there. 2x plus 3y. Yeah, there isn't the correct answer. It should be 2x plus 3y, x minus y. So let me just double check this one more time by foiling it out. My first terms are 2x times x, 2x squared. My outer terms, 2x times negative y is negative 2xy. My inner terms, 3xy. And then my last terms, minus 3y squared. These are similar terms. I'm going to combine them. 2x squared is that. Minus 2xy plus 3xy is 1xy minus 3y squared. So I could see that these are the same as that up there. So these are the factors of that. I know it's a big algebra lesson. It is a hard problem. Hope this video is helpful. Hopefully you did the problems in your notebook before you watch me do them. If you need any more help, go to this web address, or this app and download it on your phone. I'll give you a ton of more resources to help you do well on the ASVAB.